I've always hated camping. Not the fun, cheerful kind people brag about online. I mean the real kind. Dirt, bugs, and the strange silence of the forest at night. But my dad, he worshipped that stuff. Every summer he dragged me into the woods with his wilderness-obsessed friends. By sophomore year I had reached my breaking point, so I begged him to let me bring a friend, someone who'd distract me from the misery. He agreed, and that's how Charles ended up coming along. Charles loved the outdoors, but he wasn't annoying about it. He made jokes, sure, but he was the kind of guy who could turn even a miserable moment into a decent memory. We both assumed the trip would be boring, irritating, but safe. We were wrong. From the moment we arrived, everything felt off. The campsite was nothing like the remote forest spot we usually got. The reservation had been messed up. Instead of open woods and quiet lakes, we ended up somewhere strange, a weird hybrid between a campground and something else. Paved walkways, bright lamps, a playground. It didn't even feel like nature anymore. But the strangest part wasn't the playground. It was the amusement park right next door. A whole amusement park, empty at night, looming behind the tree line like a forgotten carnival, frozen in time. Even in daylight, the Ferris wheel barely moved in the wind, creaking slowly like it was breathing. That first night after everyone fell asleep, Charles and I couldn't settle down. The forest was too quiet, and the amusement park, even from a distance, had this unsettling glow, like the lights wanted to turn on but couldn't. We weren't tired, we weren't thinking clearly, and we weren't prepared. We snuck out. The fence around the park was old and weak, like it had been climbed many times before, and once we were inside, the air felt wrong, heavy, still, like the rides were watching us. We made it to the base of a massive roller coaster. In the moonlight it looked skeletal, a giant metal spine stretching into the sky. Climbing it felt like a dare from the universe. Every step of the maintenance ladder echoed like a whispered warning. When we reached the top, the park below us was pitch black except for a few flickering bulbs on an old snack stand, and for the first time that night, I felt like something else was up there with us. We stayed only a moment. Something about the silence made my skin crawl. We climbed back down and started making our way toward the fence. That's when we saw him. At first I thought it was just a shadow, moving between two buildings, a trick of the darkness. But then Charles grabbed my arm and pointed. There was no mistaking it. Someone was crouched behind a booth, staring at us. He didn't move like a guard. He didn't move like a normal person either. When he finally darted across a stretch of dim light, we got a better look. His clothes were torn, as if he'd been lost out there for days. His posture was wrong, crooked, uneven, and the way he stared at us from the shadows. It didn't feel human, not dangerous, just wrong. Like something pretending to be a person but not understanding how to imitate one. Then without a sound, he disappeared behind a ride. Charles and I didn't speak a word as we escaped the park. We ran silently through the campsite, practically collapsing into our tent. Neither of us slept. Every gust of wind outside sounded exactly like footsteps approaching. In the morning, park staff made an announcement. No, not about violence, not about a criminal. They said the amusement park had received multiple reports over the past week, people claiming to see a man wandering the grounds after hours. But every time security checked, the cameras showed nothing. Just empty pathways, empty rides, and flickering lights. The staff called it a prank. Locals called it the park walker. We knew better, because the thing we saw that night didn't walk right, didn't move right, didn't even look like it belonged to the world we knew. To this day, neither of us can explain what we saw.